I have a question to start this podcast off today.
Hit me.
So first off, I have to say I did steal this idea, but I thought it was cool to bring to our podcast. So I stole this from the Rizzuto show, but they want to know what would be your top 5 bands at a Brochella.
Okay.
Brochella.
I mean, I can imagine what that
basically
means.
top 5 bro bands you would put on a bill at Brochella.
Let me think about it.
I really thought you could come up with something pretty quick.
I can. Well, what are yours?
Well, my first question is Blink-182 considered bro? Would you consider him bro?
As someone who has
definitely bro.
Yeah, as someone who has been to quite a few Blink shows, I mean, I've seen some bros there. I mean, I'm a fucking bro.
Yeah.
And I've seen them live. So, I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure people bro bands.
Number one band on a bro band set, I think, would have to be Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, but I don't know if I would have them. I mean, they could be. They could be. They might be an honorable mention for me. They might be
okay.
Somebody doesn't show up, we're calling Limp Bizkit. Five Finger Death Punch has to be on there.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Puddle of Mud.
Yeah, but who wants them on their show? No disrespect. No disrespect.
What about Nickelback?
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but dude, again, as someone who has seen them live, there are a lot of chicks at their shows. I mean, there might be bros, but you do want chicks to come, so the bros come too. So yes, we got to put Nickelback.
Uh-huh.
So Nickelback, Five Finger Death Punch. Does it have to be rock?
I don't know. I mean, I guess whatever would be at Coachella, but it's Brochella, so it's a pretty wide variety.
Yeah, but see, Coachella likes to be too cool for the room, though, and they like to mix in Kate Bush has come out of retirement to play with Rage Against the Machine. Isn't this fun? No, that's not fun at all. Both inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, Brochella. Well, who did Rizzuto say? What did the show say? The show that you stole this idea from.
Limp Bizkit was their number one, which I agreed with. I threw in Blink-182 on my own. They said Puddle of Mud. I think they said Stained also.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember the other couple.
All right, here's gonna be mine. Okay. So Five Finger Death Punch for sure. I'm gonna surprise you with one. If it's a Brochella, meaning we want to attract the bros, you have to have Pantera. Now, I don't know if that's the right type of bros. We didn't say what type of bros we're trying to.
That might be a different bro. You might be right.
But if Five Finger Death Punch is playing and Pantera are playing, you're there.
Yeah.
That's two of the same bro crowds.
That's true.
Coming together as one and beating up people who they think are gay, right? So those two.
Could Avenged be considered bro?
Yeah, you know what? Yes, but I don't know about anymore.
Okay.
I think they've made it clear that you guys kind of pigeonholed us when we were at our peak, and maybe you shouldn't have. But they could. Yeah. I'm gonna put Nickelback on the bill because you want the females to come. Kid Rock.
Yep.
I would put Kid Rock before I would put Limp Bizkit.
Okay.
Again, as someone who has seen Kid Rock live, lots of bros. Lots of bros. Is that 4? Is that 4?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So the last one, I want this one to be special. Ooh.
I have one in my head.
I got it. No, I got it. I got it. 311.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I was gonna say Smash Mouth.
You would, but you're a Smash Mouth fan.
You are too.
When we went over them to be on the bill.
When we went over that record, you were like, "Oh man, I forgot about this. this."
Yeah, you really forget about them. So that would be a good one. But I think 311 or Sublime.
Good one. Yep.
Yeah. Well, now we're at 8 now.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think we have a better festival than they do. Where's some other ones? I mean, if you want to go new age, bro, you could put Jelly Roll. Fucking what's the dude's name that you like? The white rapper / wannabe rock artist. What the fuck is that guy's name?
Who are you talking about?
I've seen him live too.
Yellow Wolf?
Yes. Okay. Yes. That's brotastic, right?
Yeah. I'll give you that.
I mean, we have a pretty solid festival right now. I think we need to get on the horn here and call some promoters and get this moving.
Yeah, we're gonna need some money.
Well, I don't have it. Do you?
Nope.
Well, that's where investors come in and we go, hey,
yeah,
Kid Rock is a lock, right? We're just gonna say, hey, no Bud Light at the concert.
Yeah, of course not.
Show up. PBR at the concert.
That would be awesome.
You don't see PBR at music venues, do you? Like
No,
commercial music venues.
you
You
know
go
where
to
you
a
see it?
bar.
You know where you see them? Rodeos.
How dare you?
Yeah, you know I'm right.
I've never been to a rodeo, so I wouldn't know.
I
No.
haven't either, actually.
So you don't even know. No, God, not to have this conversation again, but did you see that Bud Light put out, or Anheuser-Busch put out a statement? Or maybe
I don't.
someone in marketing of Bud Light put out a statement being like, hey, it was one can for one person. It's not a marketing camp. Like we said
Mhm.
on our show, it's not a
Right.
marketing campaign. This isn't like a nationwide thing. It was a one-time thing. Get over it, basically.
So here's a question that I don't think I've asked. Was this Anheuser's idea? Like with them sending her this can, did they say, hey, promote this on the socials? Or did she just do it thinking Anheuser-Busch and it became what it became?
Again, I don't think they're stupid. I think they know if they're going to send a can with that
It
person's face
makes sense.
to
Yeah.
them, they're going to promote the fact that it happened. Now,
Yeah.
maybe they were probably like, hey, she is so anti Bud Light and anti Bud Light culture that she doesn't, but there's no way. Look, I think it's a win for them either way.
Yeah. You know what? I think we're
So
idiots because if we think about what she was promoting in the video, wasn't she promoting something for Anheuser? Not just the beer, but no, it was March Madness.
yeah, it was
So it
like a
had to,
March Madness
yeah,
type
that's
thing.
right. Yeah. So unless she was just like trying to knock out a few things at one, like a few different sponsor opportunity deals at one time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
I don't
goofy.
know.
At this point, it doesn't matter. Bud Light has come back from it. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
But didn't Kid Rock just posted something on his new tour? There's not gonna be Bud Light or something like that. But
I
doesn't
think I
he
did see something
do?
like that.
I don't know if we've talked about this, but doesn't he do? He does like a really good thing, a really smart thing is on his tours. He gets a cut of the bar sales at the venues.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
I know that he did do that. I don't know if he still does. I don't know why you would stop doing that,
Yeah.
obviously, but
Yeah. Well,
I
that's,
don't
I
know.
mean, me and you talked about that, and it's of course on a much smaller scale. But me and you talked about that a few weeks ago, talking about playing shows locally in your area. About
Yeah,
do you, if you have a contract, can you put in the contract? I want half of the bar or something like that, because you kind of have the argument that, well, I'm bringing the people in here that you're selling booze to.
easier said than done. There were a couple of venues in St. Louis that would do that for you. Way back in the day when I first started playing shows, there was a place called Baja Rock Club. It was on Main Street in St. Charles. So technically not St. Louis, but
Mhm.
yeah, if they would always have rock shows throughout the week. Uh, book bands. You bring your people, sell tickets for this amount. We'll let you sell them, and then you could sell them for a specific amount if you also wanted a cut of the bar. Now, obviously, every band was like, "Well, I'm going to bring my friends who drink, so obviously we'll do that." That's a pretty sweet deal. I wonder what is in that where that place was now. I haven't been over there in so long. Some really memorable shows there, believe it or not.
So do you think if Kid Rock doesn't do Bud Light at his shows, like he has to get rid of all Anheuser products, right?
No, because he has not yet made that distinction because he's a dummy.
Oh, okay.
Do you really think
But
he's made? Wait, did he say fuck Anheuser-Busch in his original video that we showed?
both. He said
Okay.
fuck Bud Light and fuck Anheuser.
Well, then no, yeah, no Budweiser, no Bud Select, yeah, no Bush, no
So so if
Shock
he
Top. Is it Shock Top?
I don't think that is that an Anheuser product? I don't
I
think
think
so.
it is.
Really?
I think so. Either way, what were you gonna say?
Well, I'm wondering if he does still have that kind of deal where he gets a portion of the sales of the alcohol and stuff. Like, does that hurt his income on that aspect? Are people just going to drink everything else, whatever other beer is involved, or he gets some other beer to sponsor it and they make it a huge deal,
That's one way to go.
which I could see that happening.
Yeah, but then
because
you have
it's
to
like
coordinate that with all the venues. They got to change the taps. They got to do all this extra shit.
oh, that's a good point too. I didn't think about that.
But here's the thing: if you're working, like, say, with like a place like the pageant has 3 beer taps. Like,
Yeah,
if you want draft beer, you have Bud Light, Budweiser, and I think Shock Top. Like, I don't think there's not a bunch of taps to choose from. It's like, order from one of these 3, fucker. If not, I'm passing you by, and I'm gonna keep going to the next person. Like,
right.
so I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be that difficult. And if you think about the size of, like, but what if he's playing arenas? Like, those arenas really going to accommodate that? Think
I don't know
about,
how that. I don't know how that works.
like I was just at Busch Stadium, for instance. Let's say he plays stadiums. I was just there yesterday. You're walking around. Think of all the concession stops you have with the
Mhm.
same taps. You mean to tell me that they're not going to run those or they're going to change those? Yeah,
Right,
right.
right.
Now, a place like the pageant, you have 2 bars to worry about. Okay. Perhaps for the night, for the evening, we could change that. But when you're talking about an arena or a stadium that has how many hundreds or thousands of concession stands that serve
Right.
beer, what are you going
And
to
you're
do?
talking about taking all those kegs off and then wherever you're going to get the new kegs from. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that, man.
Yeah,
It seems like a reach.
it seems unlikely.
Yeah. So basically, what we're saying is, Kid Rock, if you want to play Rochella, deal with it. We're serving Bud Light because it's the easiest way to go.
Yeah.
So you really don't remember who they said? Limp Bizkit, Three Doors Down is a good one.
Oh, good one. That is a good one. No, the main ones I heard, like I said, was Limp Bizkit and Stained and Puddle of Mud. Trapped
What
is a
about
big bro band.
who wants Trapped at their show? What about we haven't thought of very many metal bands though. Like, what about like I said, Pantera. I think of like a bro. I mean, you could name any number of like metal core bands, or even like speed metal or black metal bands that bring nothing but sweaty dudes to the shows. I don't know if those dudes are bros though necessarily.
Who's considered speed metal?
Slayer might be a bro band. I mean, Metallica, technically speaking, started as a speed metal band.
And then
Slayer, Anthrax, Metallica, Megadeth,
what was the other one you said? Black metal?
Exodus,
Who's that? Who's
black
that?
metal, huh?
Who's black metal?
Like Venom and like all of these like face painting bands. Dude, I don't know. You're asking me to get into the weeds about bands that I don't care to even. Yeah. There's so many subgenres of metal too, which really it made me want to talk about something else, but we'll get there. So yeah, Brochella. I'm gonna call it something other than Brochella though. I don't like that.
Okay. You have another thought in mind already?
The Bro Down.
The bro down. That if that's the case, you have to do it where they do rodeos.
What's with you in the rodeos today? I don't understand.
I don't know. I'm not really sure.
You want to go to a rodeo. You've been thinking about this.
I wouldn't mind going to a rodeo. I've never been to one.
Why would you?
To drink
Just because.
PBR and
Do they really serve PBR at?
dude, that's like literally like the number one.
Why?
I don't know. Doesn't it just seem
PB
like a rodeo beer?
No, PBR is based out of Milwaukee.
So
How many rodeos they have in Milwaukee?
I don't know. They
Aren't
also make
rodeos more?
Milwaukee's best, which is not the best.
It's not. It's not. It is not. It's. We used to drink the shit out of that stuff
That's
because it
what.
was so cheap.
Yeah, growing up, that's what my dad drank.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was cheap.
Milwaukee's best light
Whew.
or ice.
Yeah. Do you think? What do you think the major difference is between any of those? Anything?
How bad you
What
smell
what
the
what,
next morning.
what makes a beer ice?
Well, isn't
What do
ice supposed to
you-
be a malt?
Oh, is it? Is that okay?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay, so like Bud Ice is a malt.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure
Okay,
that's their version of a malt, which is not good. Not good.
you don't
And
like.
I like malty beers. Like, I love a
Okay,
Mickey's. Oh, we used to do work on Mickey's, but like a
say
Bud
Heineken, I'm a
Ice.
fan. Yeah.
Yeah, I want a Mickey's now. Makes me want to talk about the thing I wanted to talk about. So what was your question?
I don't remember. What do you want to talk
God
about?
damn
Go.
you. No, so like you didn't see it, but so Fat Mike from NoFX was on the Punk Rock NBA.
Yeah.
And he's actually been doing a really good job of getting some pretty good guests, kind of legendary guys or gals from the punk scene or metal scene or whatever. But so like I didn't make it through the whole episode. Like full disclosure, I'm not a big fan of Fat Mike. NoFX is fine for me. I feel like they're very important when it comes to the history of punk rock and the history of uh, crossing punk rock into, even though they were never like necessarily a mainstream band, but crossing punk rock into pop culture. I feel like they had something to do with that. But him as a dude, he's just such a pompous prick. And
Oh,
he
really?
was on this show. And I sort of feel like, hey man, can you just answer a question? Like, does everything have to be like, no, man, like it's because I was thinking about this, man. Like, fuck you. Just answer a question. It reminded me of every guy that would be at a house party I went to, or a party I went to when I was like 20. I went to a lot of these like punk rock parties where every guy, like, you couldn't have a conversation with them because they were just too, they just knew more than you. And they always had to have the edge on you somehow. I'm like, hey man, I'm just trying to talk about fucking nachos. Like, can you just have a conversation? Like, that's what that conversation was. And it just frustrated me. I made it about 10, 15 minutes and I was like, I can't. Every answer was a fucking sort of this pompous, condescending thing. And I'm just like, how have you not grown out of this, man? What are you, like 60 now? You haven't grown out of this attitude yet. But hey, I mean, people grew to love him and that band because of that. It has all, I don't know how much of it has to do with it, but it has something to do with it. The one thing he talked about that I thought was cool is like he started this, and again, I don't know the real specifics because I didn't listen to the full episode and I didn't bother to look it up afterwards. Maybe we could do that now, but maybe it's not that important. But he's put together this punk rock museum, which I thought was cool. Like talking about the artists that don't get enough credit and sort of like an ode to punk rock. Well, I think it's great. I think that's awesome. So that's cool. But do you have to be such a dickhead when you talk about it? Can't you just be normal? I
Right.
don't, I've never understood that mentality and that sort of like, you know, it made me think of a, it made me think about a specific time when I played a show in Columbia, Missouri, not South Carolina or any of the other states that have Columbia as a city. But I played a show in Columbia. And afterwards, we went to a house party, and the dude who was throwing the party offered to put us up, sleep on his floor, his couches, whatever. Fuck yeah. So like we go, and I remember I'm in the kitchen, and the TV's on with like music videos on. There's like music blaring. I don't remember who was on the TV, but this dude behind me said like, "Oh yeah, fuck that guy. He believes in da da da, politics wise, right?" And so I didn't know what he was talking about. So I was genuinely interested in knowing what specifically about that guy are you speaking of? So I turn around and I go, hey man, what did you say? Like, when did you hear this? Like, what did he do? Like, what did he say? What, like, when did this happen? And he just goes, are you a libertarian? And I'm like, excuse me? Is you a libertarian? And I'm like, maybe. We're not talking about me. We're talking about the guy on the TV that you were just talking about. That's what I'm not talking about me. Right. I was so annoyed and I was just so angry. I was like, yeah, man, but can you answer my, and he wouldn't answer my question. And libertarians are the antithesis of what's real in society and blah 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 blah. He had all these fucking answers for everything and he moved his hands like this. I was like, dude, I'm gonna elbow you in the throat if you just don't answer my question. Like, why can't we have a conversation? I know you think you're too cool for me. That's fine. But just answer my question. Like, I would never treat another person like that. I'll never forget that moment because I was like, he just goes, are you a libertarian? And I'm like, is the guy that you're talking about one? Because I'm curious. I don't know. I don't know why you asked me that. Fuck me. And
That's just
about
somebody
5 years,
that's hoping to get into that conversation with someone.
I guess. But 5 years down the line, I was like, I kind of do identify as libertarian. I'll never say it, especially not at a party. But I really just wanted to know what you said about. I think it was like a dude who had like a really popular song in the early or mid 2000s that was like on a song with maybe like Lil Wayne or something. I can't even remember who the guy's name, but this dude was just talking about him. I was genuinely curious because I didn't know much about the guy and I thought it was interesting. So I was like, hey, let me ask. Boy, did that fail. But his response to me was so bizarre. It's like, are you libertarian? Sorry, man. Fucking so weird. But that's what that Fat Mike interview just reminded me of. It's just like, and I've encountered that quite a few times where it's just like, why did I bother? I'm sure you have too.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like yours would be different than mine. So like, what's a situation where you find yourself like that? Well, I'll be honest with you. You're a gentle soul when it comes to being around bands and people in the music industry. Like you're very nice to people. Like you
Yeah.
never have your guard up. You never like you're just genuinely interested in what's going on.
Yeah.
So I can imagine you've bumped into someone who didn't really want to give you the time.
I mean,
You don't have to say who, or you can.
I don't think I really have any like real examples of running into anybody, mainly because
No,
the people that I
you
would
stick
have
to
that
people you
interaction
know
with,
and like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, would be like local people, and I've never had that.
So you've never gone up to a stranger and tried to,
That ain't me, bro.
yeah, okay. I mean, I'm
I know.
not really like
I
that. I'm
also know
not,
it's not
believe me,
you
I'm
for
not
the
like
most
that
part
either.
either. Yeah.
I just thought
Yeah.
I'm at a house party. You're
Right.
5 feet away from me. Let
Right.
me just go ahead and ask. But
But see, the
now
thing
I,
is, you explaining that scenario, you stayed in that scenario longer than I would have. Like as soon as if he would have said, "Are you libertarian?" I'd have been like, I'm out." I would have just turned around and walked away. I'm like, I'm not. What's the point in this conversation?
I wanted to fight my way through it, but I didn't know how. I was just like, I'm
You almost
so
had to fight your way
I'm
through it.
so confused. Like I don't but here's the thing, like if the dude he was talking about was one, I didn't know that. So I had no idea how to support that question with a real answer other than like, huh?
Right.
You know, like what? But I can imagine again, like well, if you don't talk to strangers, then that's good.
That's good.
But being around bands, I'm sure there's been a band that's treated you kind of shitty. Well,
Um,
you talked about that trap show. You didn't say they were the most inviting group of fellas, right? Didn't you?
the majority of the band was good. It was just the lead
The
singer.
singer?
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that was odd. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you've been around a lot more, a lot more bands and musicians and stuff, and it's funny too, because when me and you were texting back and forth quite a bit, every once in a while you're just like, I hate band dudes. I hate band dudes. Like
do.
it's a thing. And at first I had no idea what you were talking about. I didn't really
And
get
it's
it.
okay for me to say that because I hate myself and I'm one of them.
Exactly. Because
So,
yeah. If you weren't
yeah,
a band dude, you couldn't do that.
no.
But
It's
but
like
yeah,
being, yeah.
I didn't understand it in the beginning, but after time and time and time again, where
So
you've told
which
me that,
which
I've been able to
situation made you understand it?
dude, there's been so many.
I
Like
haven't
literally,
given
how
you
many times do you think you've
I haven't
texted
given
me?
you that many.
You've given me a lot.
I'll be honest, the most recent one that we texted about off the show put me over the edge.
Was that about an interview we were trying to set up?
No. It
Oh,
was
okay,
about
because that was one too. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. We're
That
being
put me
very
over the edge just because that went beyond sort of stupid petty band guy bullshit and was about something real that that uh that I was going through and experienced. And I don't and that was sort of the whole reason that I brought it up on the show, not trying to get into too many details. It's like I don't like mixing. I try anyway not to mix my personal life in with the music too much. I don't like to be I don't I'm not an open book
right.
with the music like some people are, which is fine. Some people are
Well,
okay with that.
you kind of well, I mean, you talk about family or like, you made a song for your son and stuff like that. So I mean, in a way you're mixing family in, but I know what you're saying. Like you're not revealing like personal stuff or anything like that through your
Yeah, but that
music.
wasn't me taking advantage of anything. That
Well,
was just
no.
me writing. That
No,
was
no.
just me writing a
Yeah.
song. You
Yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah.
that there was no that was a very sort of linear. I took a linear path to the subject matter for the song and getting the song out. It was very clear what was happening with that.
Right.
There was no extra or added motivation or added incentive or anything that happened in life other than I now have a child, I now have a son. I go ahead and write a song about him. That's it,
Right.
which is a very common thing. So, but yeah, that whole situation really just, I'm still angry about it. But anyway, we're not gonna say who it is, so let's just change the
But you're
subject.
you're not involved in the situation anymore, though, right?
I
Like
have
it's
no
pretty
idea.
much. Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't want to be. Like I'm
I
still
got you.
waiting for the moment to be like, nah, I'm good. I don't know if I'll ever. I don't honestly. If I make a prediction, I'm gonna say no. I'll never have that chance because I really don't think it's gonna happen.
Gotcha.
Just my prediction, but we'll see. But no, I love band dudes. I'm trying to like replay in my head like when I've said that to you.
I would have to go through back through
Not only
text, but
when,
it
but
happened.
why? Why did I say it to you? Right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We all suck. We really do. We really do all suck. Band guys, that is. Well, did I ever tell you about? So this I will talk about because I don't fucking give a shit. So I get a text message from a former bandmate, and it's a screenshot of something that happened on Facebook. So I guess there's this Facebook group called STL Punk Legacy. Did I send this to you? Did I clue you in on this?
I don't think so.
No. There's this Facebook group, and STL Punk was one of these websites, STL Punk, and I think I even shared a screenshot with you, and I've told you about it a little bit before, right?
We've had the conversation.
So like one of these websites, like is very, very good for St. Louis fans. And if you were, sort of at the top of the list for them, you got a lot of attention. And it meant you were doing really well in St. Louis. So there's this Facebook group they've started where like they just kind of bring up old memories. But so somebody wanted to throw together an STL Punk Legacy show. And the screenshot I got it was a screenshot of a former member of one of the bands I was in, basically volunteering us for that show. This is a member who got kicked out long before the band ever broke up. And I was like, oh,
That's not a
that's
good
weird.
look.
5 minutes after I get these screenshots, I get a text message from this person basically being like, hey, we're doing this reunion. I have replacements. You can do it if you want. That type of thing. And I was like, what? And again, the visceral sort of split second reaction I had to it, I was like, this motherfucker. But then I'm in bed. My wife is next to me. My kid is snoring in the other room. I'm like, I don't care about this.
Right.
Like, I had to like bring myself back to reality. I was like, I don't care about this at
Right.
all. And I said something to my wife who was like half asleep. She's like, they can't do that. What do you mean? I'm like, it's not that serious. Like, who cares? She's like, no, that's ridiculous. Are you going to like say something? I'm like, no, I'm not going to respond to this. I'm not going to say anything to anybody about it. If they do it, they do it. They'll never do it. Believe me, I know. But
And it's not like it's going to tarnish your legacy any if they do it with replacements.
tarnish my legacy. Oh no. What will I do?
Can you
Like,
mention who the band is or no? That'd be
it's
too far.
killer me, kill you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you were always the only singer for that band, right?
Not necessarily true. No.
Oh, really?
So there was a band that existed before I joined and I replaced a guy, but they didn't have a name. They definitely weren't called Killer Me, Killer You. That was a name that I brought to the table. So
Gotcha.
I guess you could say, sure, I wasn't the original singer, but I'm the original singer of Killer Me, Killer You. Yes.
Right.
But of the original collection of people who got this thing rolling, no.
Okay,
Does it
so
matter?
this is a question not to I'm hoping I don't offend you, but
Please, please offend me.
do does Killer Me Killer You does it matter who does the vocals for that band for like a reunion type of deal like this?
I don't know. How many people do you want watching you?
What does that mean?
I say that to the guys who would be on stage without me. How many people do you want watching you? Do you want all the people or none of the people? Make that
Okay.
decision.
Okay. So, but what you're saying is like the people that are coming to watch that is because they are old fans of Killer Me Killer You. Is that what you're
You,
saying?
you,
That's why the people would come and they're not going to come if you're not the lead singer.
I didn't say that.
And I'm not saying you're saying that in like an overconfident way or anything like that. I'm just saying,
I'm very confident in saying that if they don't know that I'm not going to be the singer and they show up and they see that I'm not the singer, they'll be upset.
oh, okay.
I'm confident in saying that. Yes.
Okay, I gotcha.
I haven't heard anything about this since. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it was just sort of people talking and
Are
stupid
there were
internet
there
chatter.
were there any other notable bands that you seen they wanted to pull, or did you see anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a lot of. Here's the thing, too. Killer Me, Killer You was not an STL punk band. So it didn't, that within itself didn't make sense. For this person to be like, hey, we'll do it. We were never an STL punk band.
What do you consider it?
Like, what do I
Okay, hang
consider
on.
Killer Me, Killer You?
No, no, no. Okay, so you're saying STL Punk Band is in that
That website. We were never on that
website?
website.
Okay, okay, okay.
We were
I
never
was
on that website.
I thought you were saying that Killing Me Kill You is a different genre of music.
No, no, no. We were
I see what
never
you're
on
saying
that
now.
website. We were
Okay,
never
I got you.
involved.
I gotcha.
We might have been mentioned once at the very, very tail end of STL Punk. We were a MySpace band.
Right.
Yeah. So so again, for that person to be like, yeah, we'll do it. Like, no one cares, dude. I don't know how we got talking about that. I think we got started on that because we were talking about Fat Mike. So my
Yeah.
whole thing is
Okay.
just like, be normal. Be normal. It also reminded. I told you the service story, right?
The only one I know is
Not
about.
the one where we play with them. Well, we did play with them, but it was at a block party. And these two kids wanted to meet the singer.
Uh-huh.
Did I tell you that story?
No.
So again, like two kids approached me and two of the other members of Monsters, and they were like, "Hey, you guys are really awesome. Will you sign this?" We sign it, and they're like, "Hey, do you know this artist?" And we're like, "Not really. I mean, we know them, but don't know them, right?"
Right.
That whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the kids was like, "Hey, if you see the singer, will you tell him? Could you send him over here? We'd really love to get a signature on." I'm like, "Shy, maybe." And in my brain, I'm going, "Fuck no, dude. I don't want to talk to that guy. I'm certainly not going to tell him." But so I see him. He's like standing next to me, and those kids, and this is like 20 minutes later. These kids see me standing next to him, and they start screaming at me. Now at this point, they know my name because they've met me. I've signed something. It's like they start screaming my name and being like, "Hey, send him over." I'm like, and the guy looks at me and it's like, look over at them, and they're screaming and hollering. They're like doing this, and I'm just like, "Hey, those kids really want to meet you, man. I don't know if you want to go over there or not." I certainly didn't tell them that you would, but they said that to me. He's like, "Well, why'd you tell?" I'm like, "I didn't tell him. I didn't tell him anything." He's sort of like, and I was like, "I didn't tell him anything. I just they told me that they want to meet you." It's like, all right, and I'm like, "What? Why is it my
So
fault?"
did he go?
Yeah,
Did he go meet them? He did?
yeah. I was like, "Why is it my fault that you have fans, fucker?"
Right.
What the fuck?
If you're lucky enough to be in a band and tour and have fans and you're going to be shitty about it when your fans want to meet you.
Yeah, I wish I hadn't said who it was, but fuck them. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, again, I just say be normal. Like again, we've talked about this so many times where I've been like, I'm sure I've pissed somebody off, and I know I have, but it's not because I wanted to or because I thought I was better than anyone. You know, it was for the most part an anxiety driven thing that I have to deal with on a daily basis, not just in like, oh, I'm in a band and I got to be around people, but just in my daily life as a dude. You know, it's something I deal with. I've been dealing with it since I was a fucking small child. And my oldest son is dealing with it too. Like I can tell he is me. It sucks. Like I feel bad for the kid because I know what's ahead. I know what he's
Yeah.
going to be dealing with in 5 years. Maybe he'll change, but I I can see him being the way that I remember being, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Now, does he feel the same way? Maybe not. It's an internalized thing that you have to kind of break yourself of. But I know I just see him reacting to situations and people the same way that I did. I'm like, ah, fuck, this kid is fucked. This is not good. But I go back to like, well, one of the previous conversations we had about, we were talking about bullying and shit. And I don't know that I ever would have been able to break free of some of that anxiety and shit that I was dealing with without the bullying, without the weird shit
Like
that I
the
had to go through.
forced confrontation that you
Yeah,
had to
man.
learn how to deal with, kind of.
Yeah. I don't know. Now maybe I would have been fine, but so we'll see what happens to him. I don't know. Right now I feel bad for him. Like,
Yeah.
if he was my wife, he'd be like punching people in the face on the street. Like he'd just be partying. But unfortunately, that's not me. All right, well, let's talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, like, obviously, you've seen who the inductees were this year. Give me your thoughts. So this year we got Kate Bush, which I don't really understand. Sheryl Crow.
We expected it though.
Why did we expect? Why? Because of Stranger Things?
Pretty much, yeah. Literally the only reason why she got nominated this year.
Okay. You think that's it? Well, didn't we discover that Kate Bush has many other hits that we didn't know about?
Yeah, but I mean, don't you think it's ironic that it happened the year that song blew up again because of Stranger Things?
Well, no, I don't think that's ironic at all.
Who would have been thinking about Kate Bush if it wasn't for Stranger Things?
No one. I mean, obviously, but people from that era of pop music remember her. But yeah, I certainly. So her next biggest song, I guess, just from looking at views, would be Babushka. Do you know what that is?
Nope.
Well, look, if you're going to be in my Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and yes, I'm calling it my Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we're going to watch it. So,
okay.
Have you ever heard this before?
No.
Just like his wife, but how she was before the tears.
Permission to turn this off, please.
Please.
That was awful.
I've never heard that before. So, like, all right, so the other one would be Wuthering Heights. Why did she get in? No way.
How is this possible?
No way.
Okay. So as I said, they literally only put her in for running up that hill because of Stranger Things. That's it.
Well, because it's obviously one of the biggest songs of the last 10 years. Right?
Right, but is that enough to put you into the Hall of Fame? Should it be?
No. And I don't know that, but what I'm saying is that's why. That's astonishing to me. I don't know. So besides her, so again, I think my biggest thing is this might as well just be called the Music Hall of Fame because they get, this year, a lot of pop artists, get in. Kate Bush, Sheryl Crow. Now, look, I know Sheryl Crow started as an alternative artist, but pop. Come on, she's a pop artist, right? Mm-hmm. Fair. George Michael, Missy Elliott. You know what? Missy Elliott's the first female rapper to get in, which I find. Ooh, how you gonna put her in before Queen Latifah and MC Lyte?
Right.
But
Willie
Nelson on his first nomination gets in. Which, by the way, why is it his first? That's crazy.
That's true.
Rage and Rage has been nominated 5 times. I read that it's their 5th time. Why didn't you just let him in the first time? They what's special about this time?
Yeah, you'd have to.
And I was really hoping they would be like, yeah, but I was really hoping they'd be like, nah, we don't care. They were like, we're so grateful, thank you. Come on.
Yeah, but they did it in a way where they still made the statement of this is what we did. You know what I mean? They gave all these different examples of what they did along the way.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of lame.
Well, but I'm saying that
we know what you did. Do something new now.
That's making the statement.
No, it's not. It's braggadocious. It's like, hey, we did this. Do something now.
Yeah.
I get it. It's fine.
Do something else.
Yeah. Do something new. Surprise us. And the Spinners. So here's the thing about the Spinners. Do you know who that is?
No, I immediately thought of Spin Doctors.
That definitely not the same thing. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Perfect spot. You know this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Here's my thing about this. Just let all the Motown bands in. For real.
It would be hard Okay, well, give me your reasoning why.
Because it's clearly an influential era of music and sound, and just like in the history of music, the Motown generation of bands and the bands that they inspired have been completely, they sort of have like they own a time period in music, right?
Yeah.
So just put them all in. Just put like if you were a Motown artist, Motown's in, and then just a list of bands, right? Like, don't make the Spinners wait until 2023.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not opposing them being in, by the way. I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm saying put them all in, all the Motown. I think obviously the biggest controversy from this year is Iron Maiden once again not getting in, which I think is, to put Kate Bush in
Right.
over Iron Maiden is just. Have you heard anyone arguing for Kate Bush being in, like really giving a real reason? Like, yeah, she's got this song and this record and this and that. And like, has anyone ever done that? Like, have you heard anyone do that? Because I don't know anyone that knows that much about Kate. Like, I could name several people that'd be like Pat Benatar, and they could name you B-sides from records, and they could name you live records, and
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks, they could do that. But like Kate Bush, like, I don't know anyone that does that.
Right. And I think everybody's just chalking it up to they know why.
Well, that's upsetting. But good for her. I don't get. Is she still alive? Yeah, she's 64.
What do you think
I think
about
some
George
of
Michael?
It doesn't make sense. Again, like I said, it's kind of pop heavy. Could he be in? Sure, but I don't know. Over Iron Maiden?
Right. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
What? Like, Iron Maiden is one of the most influential and important. But that's the thing. It's like, does metal get shit on by these higher institutions of music, such as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Grammys, things like that? Because if it didn't, wouldn't Iron Maiden be a no-brainer? Like, we're gonna put them in.
I mean, I would think so. A lot of other bands from that time that were I don't see how there's any difference.
And I hate to say this, like, I'm a bigger Rage fan than Iron Maiden fan, but Iron Maiden probably deserves to be in just as much, if not more, than Rage.
Because of their influence?
Yeah, man. I mean, maybe not. Yeah. It should just be the Music Hall of Fame. And is it really that important? No. I was really hoping that Rage would kind of do something a little bit more than being like, we're so grateful. Thank you so much. Like, I really wanted them to make some sort of statement, but maybe that's what maybe that goes back to the whole NoFX Fat Mike thing, where it's like, have you not grown out of that yet? Good for you for being adults. But I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what kind of extravagant thing you would wanted them to do.
Their name is Rage Against the Machine.
So in other words, they should have said, nah. And that would have been a better statement.
Or been like, yes, we'll be there, but here are our stipulations. That would have been cool.
What kind of stipulations? Give me some.
I don't know. Use your imagination. We want to. I don't know. I mean, just something. I mean, they've all these years they've talked about all this shit, and you thought they would have brought something to and maybe they will for the night of, because that's not until November. So maybe they will. Maybe they'll surprise us. I mean, they did that on SNL. A lot of people were surprised that they booked Saturday Night Live, and then when they did it, they did the whole upside down flag thing, and they got banned. And
do you feel like the music that they put out in the past stays relevant when they sing it today? Or do you think if you're listening to it, you have to be thinking about the time when they put this music out?
What's remained relevant to me is the songwriting. You're never going to be able to duplicate that.